Hi everybody, welcome to my channel. This is the third and last game of Crippling Ride 9 UB tournament. I was playing for the first time Crippling Ride, so it was cool to face new player. This time I'm facing BLACKLANCER, captain of Team Canada. Was really happy to face him. And then his typical Vermin swarm list, as you will see. But first of all, if you didn't see the previous video, I suggest that you go and watch it, because we made with Lichmeister some game matchup analysis and game preparation. So you might want to see that before you see this battle report. It might give you some kind of context and analysis before the game. Might be interesting for you. Okay, here you have, as a reminder, my list. Pause if you want to see it in details. And here you have my list, the list of my opponent. I won't talk that much regarding the list because I talked about it in the matchup analysis. But basically, it has 4 scoring units: Vermin Demon, the Plague Patriarch, 2 Dreadmills, 2 Jesai, a piece of chaff, a unit of Plague Disciples. So that's basically it. 2 big units, difficult to take from my list. But then some small scoring and some chaff, but not too much as well, not too mobile. It might give me some opportunities to get good charges. We are playing Counter Trust on the map 12 and Breakthrough. I chose a spell: Trial of Faith, Wrath of God, Smite the Unbeliever, Children of Umi, and Hand of Even. My opponent took both the Unerring Strike and Fate Judgment, who are really good against Rock, for example. Then he took the Know Thy Enemy and the reroll to it, Dive and Attack, and the Hereditary spell with the Vermin Demon. And then the number 2, so the Aegis boost for the Pendulum, always very good to help either the Vermin Demon or the Pendulum. Breakthrough, it's quite a favorable scenario for me because, for example, facing this list on all the ground would have been not so nice, since I cannot really take the Pendulum down with this list. I've tried it multiple times before, even with this list, this kind of list, Wild Earth, and I mean, I can send half my army almost against Pendulum. It will still be very difficult to kill it. So I remember one time I sent the BSB, a Rock, and then Giant, and everybody died. So it's kind of difficult to face this unit. That's why I should try to cross the map without facing the Pendulum if possible, and maybe give him some chaff if I need to. I need to be careful because he has every range damage, so either try to use cover and then use my Keen Eater to kill the Jesai, or try to threat him with the Wrath of God. I have some tools to deal with them, and of course focus the Dreadmill with magic. I try to push him. I think it's a good training for me to try to be aggressive and push him. And yeah, if needed, I need to chaff the Pendulum to avoid this combat because I cannot really face it. Let's see how he uses it. If he uses it to protect all his scoring unit, like I mentioned during the matchup analysis video, or if he tries to be more central and to threat me, we'll see. Deployment, I didn't take really a screenshot of deployment, but I tried to put the units back with the small corner. It's easy to do. So here I had my generals unit. I dropped everything for first turn. My opponent took south, so I had the north part, and I dropped everything for first turn with almost a mirror deployment, meaning on one half you have a Rock, a generals unit, a scoring unit, and then on the other half you have another Rock, a scoring unit, and the Giant. And in the middle I put the BSB Mage in his bunker, a second unit with Thandot, and the Tiger in the back. And my opponent went pretty centrally, a bit more to the right to use the Impassable, but still quite centrally with the Pendulum in the middle, Plague Disciple in front, the unit with Meat Grinder and the BSB within, the Vermin Demon, Giant Rats, the 2 Footpad units, the Swarm, 2 Jesai unit, and second Dreadmill. So yeah, I started the game. My turn 1, move behind the Impassable to give a flank basically to both Jesai units. So basically hard cover against all these 3 units. I was able to protect the BSB as well with the wall, so not too bad for me. And basically if you want to come and shoot at me with the Dreadmill, then I would have an easy charge with no possibilities to chaff me that far away. So that was quite interesting for me. But of course, since I wanted to give a flank to this Jedi, there are still possibilities for the Dreadmill to move within and to be out of arc. So still not so aggressive on this turn 1 with the Rock. Just took a bit careful and take one more turn. Basically, I'm going to wait for the Keen Eater to come out to push forward with everybody, and then second Rock moved a bit forward, but I wasn't able to move a bit more forward and avoid the Plague Disciples, so I just moved a bit and starting to go around with my scoring unit to try to break through. And yeah, I guess that's it. General's unit moved to flank, Trapper moved a bit forward, try to bait the Dreadmill and do some shots, and I guess that's it. And magic, try to cast the Wrath of God, get dispelled, then I try a Trial of Faith against the Dreadmill, but failed, and then I'm able to kill 2 disciples with boosted Hand of Even, and with shooting attack I'm able to do 1 wound with the General against the Giant Rat. That's it for my turn 1. My opponent turn 1, I move footpad back to be out of arc of the Rock. The same goes for the rightmost Dreadmill. Move a bit sideways with the footpad, try to go away. Basically, his idea is you can charge me now. If you don't charge me, I can move behind the impassable terrain. And then to the right, he uses the Giant Rat to chaff my General's unit. Moves a bit forward with Dreadmill to shoot at my Rock, and moves a bit to the side with the Disciples to give a pass to the Pendulum if needed. If he wants to charge, he can. And Vermin Demons move forward to try to blast. He has a good line of sight against my juicy targets, Rock, or BSB, or even this Hunter. So quite a lot of possibilities for him in Magic. He tried to cast an Earring Strike, but I'm able to dispel it on the rightmost Rock, then does a Fate Judgment and does 2 wounds to the right Rock, and the Jezzail are able, these 5 Jezzail are able to do 2 wounds to my Rock on the left. The right Jezzail with hardcover are able to do 1 wound to the Rock on the right. And I guess that's it, so not bad for first turn, 5 wounds of Rock. That's a good start for him. My turn 2. Basically, I saw an opening by charging with both the Tribesman and the Rock. First of all, I tried with the Rock because it's a terror check, and if he fails it, basically that's a free pass for my General who was here to charge into. Maybe I show you with this picture. Basically, if I charge in and he flees, it's a terror check on an 8 with no reroll, so it's a 50-50 chance more or less. If he fails it, he has to flee this direction, then I'm able to charge with my General onto the face of the Dreadmill and then overrun onto the Disciples. So that would be really great for me, a perfect opening. And second idea was, if he's able to pass the terror check, then I will be able to contact with Tribesman in the middle, with him on the side, and then overrun onto the Dreadmill, and basically give a small part of my frontage to the Disciples, who have to take a frenzy, and they could do some wounds to me, but I should be able to survive, and if I do, and even if I don't, I'm able to probably kill the Dreadmill with the impact. So that would be not bad, and even if I die, that will be on his turn, then he will be pinned in place, and I should be able to countercharge with the General and kill everybody. So I thought that was quite interesting for an opening. That was a short charge for the Rock on a 6 Swift Ride, but I failed it, and I was able to connect on a, I guess, a 5 or 6 with no Swift Ride with Tribesman on the flank, which is at least something. I used my Tripers, that's what I checked before, to chaff both units. When I saw that was possible, I took the charge with the Rock, to try my plan, but basically he passes the 8 and I failed the 6 Swift Ride, so unfortunately for me. And here I took some risk. That was a bit kamikaze plan. I charged onto the footpad. What I liked is the fling pass was putting him directly off the board, so that was one good way to clean scoring unit. But then my decision was to redirect onto this unit, which was probably a bad decision because he has a lot of static res. I forgot a bit about that. What I did is just to prepare some of my threats then to counter charge if he charge into my hunter. And I thought even if I lose, should be able to kill the meat grinder to take some wounds. And then if I need to flee, I have 3 dice, he has 2 dice. That was a bit my thought process. So we'll see, but that was for me a good way to take at least one of the scoring out. And then I was able to connect with the 10 Swift Stride onto the Ratatam's unit. On the right side, I move forward with my Rock, and I move out with both Keen Eater to be able to take both Jesai unit. If I'm a bit lucky, we will see. Because if I'm a bit lucky to survive, at least, then in combat, that should be no problem to deal with 5 Jesai for Keen Eater on the flank or the back. And then in Magic, let's see. I was able to cast a Trial of Face on the Doom Wheel, do 2 wounds, and then I did a Hand of Even boosted. I was able to do 2 wounds, so that was not bad. Then I tried the Wasp of God, was dispelled by my opponent. I tried to put the Hunting Spear, but didn't wound. And then I tried to shoot with the Trappers, but wasn't able to do a 6 to wound, so he's still alive with 1 wound. In close combat, I did 5 wounds. He flees, I just reform. And then here, I was able to kill the meat grinder, do a couple of wounds, but I lose by 2, I did 5, but he has 7 static. I forgot completely about that. So 7 static is too strong for me. I had a 7 rerollable with the BSB within 18 inch. That's what I checked before the charge. But still 7 rerollable, I failed it and did only a 5 on 3 dice to flee, and he was able to do 5 as well, so to get me with the pursue. Yeah, that's a bit sad. And here, basically, on the right side, I made sure with the position of my Rock that I would be able either to charge onto the Jesai or do something, and basically make sure that the Doom Wheel cannot go out of arc. So he has to give me some chaff, or I will be able to charge and kill the Doom Wheel. That's a bit the idea. His turn 2, he gives me some chaff and moves back with the Dreadmill. Footpad, move a bit forward. I turn around with the Dreadmill to protect his front, because he sees that if I go double charge with Giant and BSB, I might be able to deal with this unit quite quickly. And here on the left, he moves the Vermin Demon and the Disciples to be ready if I counter charge onto the Dreadmill, basically to kill me afterwards. And he was able to rally the Giant Rat. Magic. I'm using my Binding Scroll to bind an Earring Strike onto the to avoid my left Rock to get killed, because I really needed to profit a bit from the situation on the left. So I'm binding it right now, and then he does a Fate Judgment, but fails against this Rock and tries reroll to hit on the rightmost Dreadmill, but I'm able to dispel it. And with the Hereditary Spell, it's able to do 1 wound onto this Rock. The Jesai on the right are able to do 3 wounds with 5 shots against my Rock and kill it. And the Dreadmill did nothing against my Keen Eater, so that's something good for me. And on the left, with these 5s, Jesai is able to do 2 wounds to my Giant, not bad as well. And in close combat, he's able to overrun onto my Tribesman unit, which is not too bad since I have multiple counter charges. My turn 3. Able to pass the Frenzy on the left, so I took the charge with the Hunter and used the Cats to chaff the Disciples, and basically there is not enough room with the Vermin Demon to charge onto this combat. So basically Vermin Demon is chaff at the same time, and I thought it might do some casualties to me, but I could be able to do some before I die, so I thought that might be interesting. I move out of Arc of the Pendulum. That's a big strength of my list. I'm able to move out, and I try to charge on a 9 with 2 dice against first I charge here on the right with Tribesman against Footpad. He fled, and then I tried to redirect onto the Swarms, but I wasn't able to pass the 7 to redirect the charge, so I had to do fail charge. And the Giant charge onto the Dreadmill. I thought if he charged me, then afterwards I can always flee, and if I go onto the Dreadmill, I have a small chance of killing it. It depends a lot what he does with the multiple wounds. I have a chance to survive and then kill it with a lot of attack strength 7. I thought I might just try to get it, and we'll see. That would be really huge if I'm able to get this charge. And yeah, both Keen Eaters charge the respective Jesai unit, and I guess that's it. Continue to move with the Tribesmen around the house step by step. Magic. I'm trying to cast a casting, sorry, a Trial of Faith against the Vermin Demon, get dispelled, and then I'm casting Wrath of God, able to get off somewhere here in the middle, which was good. And then I was able to cast the End of Even, try to force Panic Check on the Giant Rat, killed 3 rats, and that was it. In close combat, I was able to kill it with the impact. Here I was able to do a couple of wounds, make him flee, and catch him over there, more or less. And here I completely forgot, I was a bit distracted, was playing with my kid just near me, so I was a bit distracted. I forgot that I wanted to pursue off the board. And basically, to avoid the charge of the Dreadmill, I forgot a bit about the facing and so on. And I decided to reform, to restrain. So yeah, still a charge, but I mean, that's not so bad at the same time, because he would have just shot my giant probably. So yeah, that's not so bad to give him the charge and to let him go in the corner of the map. Why not? Okay, let's move on to his turn 3. Basically, failed the frenzy and charges the dogs. Moves for failed. Yeah. I was a bit stupid by reforming my tribesman. A lack of concentration. I gave him a flank charge with Giant Rat, and he was able to connect very few model. Basically, he would have been able probably to win the combat. I'm within BSB general, so I would probably been able to stick. But he could have reformed in a way to chaff the Rock, and I didn't like that at all. So I preferred to flee, and on the process, I failed my 7 rerollable with the second scoring unit, which made me flee with the second scoring unit, which is really bad because we are playing Breakthrough, and both these units are important. So yeah, that's a risk. I made a mistake with the reform, and I couldn't allow the reform would have blocked completely the rock. So I had to flee, and basically next turn I will have a rally on a 7 rerollable with this guy and a rally on a 7 with this guy. So we'll see if I'm able to pass it or not. Yeah. What else here? I wasn't able to rally with the footpad, who jump off the board, which is good news. The Dreadmill charges my Keen Eater. He moves back with the Vermin Demon to threat my Giant and Keen Eater because he sees the problem. Basically, he has to offer something. That was always my thought process. If I come and threat this unit with the BSB, it's worth a lot of points. He cannot allow me to charge in and to grind him to death because I have toughness 5 with a lot of models. He has only strength 3. With no mid grinder, that's the good point for me at least. With this kamikaze plan from the Hunter, that with no mid grinder, it's dangerous combat for him against a single Keen Eater at least. For example, or the Giant would be as well very dangerous for him. So he put the Vermin Demon back to blast me and to be out of the Comet range. And basically here you see a bit the problem of the deployment because I was able to move around him. He has one unit facing this way. He doesn't know really where he has to look with the pendulum. He has to block me from getting around. But still, this unit is looking this way, pendulum front. It's a bit complicated in the middle since I was able to move around him, more or less. In Magic, basically, he's able to get a good Fate Judgment with 666 against the Keen Eater, kill him outright, and loses 1 wound onto the Vermin Demon, so not so bad. And then tries an Unerring Strike against the Giant. I'm able to dispel it. Then he does Hereditary Spell onto the Giant, does 2 wounds, so not bad. And the Comet goes down, kills 4 Disciples, 5 wounds to the dogs, 7 Plague Disciples, and 6 Water Towns. So not bad for this Wrath of God. Expected slightly more onto the Disciples, would have been really good, but not bad. And then into combat, he made a perfect with the Disciples. Everything hit with a Hatred, a 3 battle focus. He was able to one-shot me, so I had no attack left. That's a bit sad. I wanted to strike back with 1 or 2 models to make some wounds, but I wasn't able to do it. And here, he was able to do 2 wounds to me. I was able to do 1 in return. I'm unbreakable, so I'm staying. My turn 4, I'm taking a combo charge, 8 Swift Ride with the Rock onto the Disciples and 5 Swift Ride with my General onto the Disciples. Was able to connect with both, so I'm pretty happy about that. And I had to give a cat to move around with the Shaman's unit to be out of arc of the Giant Rat, and I'm able to rally both. So this one 7 rerollable, this one 7, which is good news because with 2 rounds I should be able to break through with both. And here on the right side, just reform the tribesman to make sure if he fails the march check, I should be able to charge him. And I move the Giant back to protect a little bit the breakthrough zone and be within a hard cover of shooting and try to force him to move forward to blast me with the Vermin Demon to get an angle. And here we're still in combat basically. Yes, and then magic. I casted Trial of Face against Vermin Demon. He did 1 ward save, so nothing. And then I put -1 strength onto the Disciples, but that was for nothing because basically I'm so confident with this combat. I was a bit afraid that my Lord might get some wounds, but I mean, I think with all the impacts, I'm not so scared, so I should just have put another Hand of Even boosted onto the Vermin Demon, would have been much better. And then I tried Wrath of God, but failed. In close combat, I was able to wipe him only with the Rock impact. And here we did 1 wound each, so I was pretty happy because I'm able to stick him in combat for 1 more turn, which is good. His turn 4, decide to move forward with the Rat Arms to try to go for the breakthrough, and basically has him to counter charge if I charge in the back with the BSB. He charges with the Pendulum onto my Chaff and able to pass the leadership and move forward with the Swarms who have nothing special to do on this side. And here we're still in combat. Let's move on to magic. He tries and put successfully reroll to hit on the Dreadmill. I have only 1 wound left. I thought, yeah, you have it. I prefer to dispel other things. He tried to put an Earring Strike on my BSB. I'm able to dispel it. And then he's able to put Ward Save 5 up onto this unit. And combat is able to kill my Keen Eater. My turn 5. Just moving around, basically here on a straight line is not able to pass this unit. I'm giving no charge to this unit, so the Vermin Demon cannot charge either my BSB or my General. I move around all unit to prepare. I march with both, and then I move around the Rock to force a terror check if needed. Basically, if you want to chaff me to avoid me getting the breakthrough, I will just charge him and hope him for failing the 6 terror check, to basically make him flee and then be able to move forward onto the breakthrough zone. And here just moving around to try to force panic check with some magic missiles. And here I moved slightly forward with them just to tempt the... It was needed that I move out of arc of the Rat Arms to avoid them charging and then freeing the pass for the Vermin Demon to charge onto my General. So I needed to be really careful here, and I just moved the Giant back. Basically the idea is if he moves forward, then I should be able to charge with the Giant, lock him, so not so pleasing for him. My magic phase, try to cast Hand of Even onto the Giant Rat, was dispelled. Then I was able to get Trial of Face. I wanted to kill 2 in order to deny him the rank. If I charged then with the Terror, that would have been, I guess, 5 or 4, I don't remember exactly. But I only did 1 wound, and then I was able to cast an hereditary spell to avoid any bad surprise with a charge if you want to try it. His turn 5, it does a conga line on the left to chaff my scoring unit. Moves around, or to my surprise, with the Vermin Demon in front of the General, basically to bait me to charge. Moves forward with this unit to try to go in the breakthrough zone. Moves a bit forward with the Pendulum. Basically protects if I charge in the flank, the Pendulum would be able to countercharge. That's the idea. Moves a bit forward with the Doom Wheel to shoot at my tribesmen. In magic, he was able to get no enemy off in Aura 12, so everybody's affected. And then he tried to put +1 ward save on the Vermin Demon. I dispelled it. Basically, no enemy changed nothing for this combat because I have parry and I'm always hitting on 3+ with the Earth Reaper. So I was not so afraid by his dispel. And I was really hesitating between charging him to pin him in place, maybe win combat, or just move around and throw a spear. My turn 6, decided not to charge with General, and then I charged with my Giant onto this unit. My thought process was the following. This is turn 6. I have 3 wounds remaining. He only has 9 or 10 attacks. Strength 3. Should be able to win this combat and make him test steadfast 2 times. That's the first thing. And he won't... It's not likely that he will kill me in 1 turn, so Even if he combat reform on this turn, he will not be able to get into the breakthrough zone. So I will be able to avoid him getting the breakthrough, because then if he reform on his turn 6, that's not counting as a scoring anymore, so I will be fine. So that was a bit the idea, to secure the scenario, because if you want to come for my scoring and maybe kill one with some blast, he could have been able to tie with only 2 scoring on my side and 2 for him. And basically I give him a charge on the 11 on the flank with the pendulum. I cannot avoid that. He will have to choose between going for breakthrough or going for the charge. We'll see. And I guess that's it. Yeah, here I just moved a bit back and to avoid the charge, and yeah, that's it. To give him a quite long charge, and of course, if he charges me, I will just free over, that's it. My magic, try a Hand of Even on the Vermin Demon. Dispelled, I do a try to face, does nothing, and then I shoot at him with the Hunting Spear, do nothing, and then in combat, I'm able to kill 10 of him, more or less. He did 1 to me. He's steadfast, he passes the steadfast, he's turn 6, moves around to blast, and yeah, that's what I was thinking before. He might try to get my scoring unit, and that's what he will try to do. Basically, if he kills the Rock, that forces a panic check on them, and then I have to take it on a 7 rerollable, and then if I flee, I will flee of them, who have to take a 7, so I could have 2 units in danger here. And he took the charge with the pendulum, who failed the 11, so on 2 dice to get onto my flank, which was a good news, because with the giant, he has only 16 model remaining. If I'm able to do again like 10 wounds or something like that, he will not be steadfast, so I could very well end up by taking the BSB and the unit, so that would have been really, really nice for me. And basically on the right, he decided to charge. I think that was a mistake. He should have just moved forward and shoot at me to try to get half point and make me flee afterwards and then get full point. Would have been maybe much more likely for him. I don't know. He took the charge, I fled, that's it. And magic, it was an Earring Strike, the small one, onto my Rock with a high roll on 3 dice, a 14. Let off, he rolls 5 hits. All wounds, I'm able to save 3 of them on 6 up, 5 up, yeah, and does 2 wounds, so I'm still alive. Then he does Fate Judgment, I'm able to dispel it, and then he does the Hereditary Spell, is able to kill the Rock, I'm able to pass the 7 rerollables, so no worries, I'm not losing the scoring unit. And bad news in combat, he's able to kill my giant, so yeah. A bit lucky for him, but I mean, yeah, that can happen. At least with the giant, I think it was a good plan to avoid him getting a lucky draw on the breakthrough or even winning the breakthrough, depending what happened. But I think at the end was a mistake not to take the charge with my general. Okay, at the end I'm winning 11-9 thanks to the breakthrough, because I'm losing on points taken since he took my giant and the second Rock on turn 6. That's a huge huge chunk of points. What happened during this game? Basically my opponent deployment, I think it allowed me to threat at multiple parts of the board, which is a high strength of my list. And I think that made things harder for the pendulum to choose where to go, what to do, where to protect. He was a bit struggling in the middle, trying to figure out how to annoy me, but that was kind of difficult because I have so much mobility. So yeah, that's a bit going back to the deployment ID I presented during the matchup analysis, where the pendulum could have been much more to the side to protect all scoring units and secure the breakthrough. His turn 6 was big for him in terms of the point taken, of course. I was a little too eager with this kamikaze plan with the hunter against the unit of Ratatams, but at the same time I was able to take out Meat Grinder and the Footpad, and then it made things completely different when thinking combat against this unit with a toughness 5 unit on my part, and it forced him to have always a counter charge. So yeah, that was a bit strange plan, a bit risky, but still not everything was so bad since I was able to kill the Meat Grinder at least. So that was maybe still a bit too early to try things like that, but it has also some good aspects into this plan. And of course, my failed reform tribesman could have cost me much more, because I had to take then the CS7 rerollable panic check, which I failed. I had 2 fleeing units, which were able to rally afterwards. So I could have done something different, I guess, in the reform, to be in the front and not, at least not allow him to chaff me after combat reform the rock. That would have been the key point here in the combat reform. And I think that was a bad decision not to charge the Vermin Demon on turn 6, because I could have been in a more secure situation to get the scenario, not lose the rock. And I think I have good chances of surviving with my general into this combat, because he has no binding scroll, so I should be able to get a -1 to wound or -1 strength. So he has, I guess, 6 or 5 attacks on the 4+4+. Then I have a 4 up regen, 4 life points. And I guess on the first turn with the charge, it's quite unlikely that I lose combat. And even if I lose, I have BSB. Yeah, of course, if I charge and if I fail, he rolls pretty well and I do nothing, and he's able to make me flee, that's the nightmare scenario, because then he's able to charge my shaman. That was a bit something that I was afraid of. But I guess overall, considering all the aspects of this last turn and the impact on the scenario and so on, should have taken this charge, I guess. Okay, guys, thanks for watching this battle report. So I end up this tournament with 1 point for the first game against the Demon Legend, then 20 points against Highborn Elves, and now 11, so 32. Considering the matchups I had, not entirely satisfied. I should have taken a bit more point during game 1, and here as well I could have done some things a bit differently. But that was very interesting 3 games, so thanks to my opponent for the games, and I will be happy to take again part to the next UB tournament, because doing 1 game in 2 weeks, I think it's pretty convenient to organize the game. It's not so hard. That was a bit difficult now to play against 2 Canadian players, because we have a huge time zone difference, but we were still able to play the game in due time, so that was something positive. And yeah, that's it. So I hope you like it. I think the Wild Earth list, I've played it quite many times in the past year, and I think it's a good list. I have nothing really to change in the list. I think it's really good list, works well. Very fun to play, because you have so much mobility, so much units, a lot of tactical flexibility. So I really like it. I think it was really fun to play these 3 games with the Wild Earth list. Thanks a lot for watching. See you soon on my channel. Bye.